This is a real quick and dirty prediction video. 13 books, let's go. Mammoth by Eva Baltasar, translated from Catalan by Julia Sanchez. The third book in this triptych, of which the second book, Boulder, was shortlisted for this prize in 2023. It follows a woman as she tries to strip life of its essentials, nursing lambs, cleaning, waiting tables, and experimenting with sex work in the pursuit of the raw meaning of life. Pretty safe prediction. The Impasium by Olga Taracka, translated from Polish by Antonia Lloyd-Jones. And I'm going to upset some people by saying this, and it's completely unnecessary, but Antonia Lloyd-Jones is my preferred translator of Taracka's work. If I'm completely honest with you, I really didn't enjoy reading this book, but I am also so very impressed by the literary genius that this book is. We all have those books, right? I acknowledge it's brilliant, it's just not a book for me. Loosely based on Thomas Mann's The Magic Mountain, she turns it into a very low horror novel. It's not scary, and certainly horror is not the point of this book. The point of this book is to make fun of a whole bunch of sexist male authors by parodying their work. And Taracka goes one step further by making every piece of dialogue a quote from a famous author. To be fair, those authors do say some really stupid and disgusting stuff that deserves being parodied. I'm just in awe of how much work this book would have involved, and I just wish I had have liked it more. Mina's Matchbox by Yoko Aguaga, translated from Japanese by Stefan Snyder. Okay, I'm going to continue to upset people for no good reason. I don't like Yoko Aguaga. She bores me. But the cover of this book has a little girl riding a pygmy hippo, and I have no self-control. That's really cute. I don't need to read this book, just give it the prize. A 12-year-old girl who, after the death of her father, goes to live with her uncle, who I assume must be Pablo Escobar because he has a pet hippo. And I'm telling you, cuteness will get you a long way in this world, especially in the book world. On the Calculation of Volume, Part 1, by Solveig Ball, translated from Danish by Barbara J. Havland. This is the Danish version of Groundhog Day, so I guess that would make it European Badger Day with a side of jam. You know, a meditative version of the same day repeating itself has a lot of potential to be awesome. It also has a lot of potential to be a movie starring Bill Murray, and I'd love to be really shady towards Bill Murray, but there are so many other Hollywood stars out there with so much less talent making so much worse movies than him, which really does sum up Hollywood, I think. This is the first book in a series. 5 books exist in Danish so far, but I think there are plans to write 7 of them. And when you consider it, an infinitely repeating day does actually give you quite a lot of world to explore if you wanted to. Stay With Me by Honey Oskavik, translated from Norwegian by Martin Atkins. This is the follow-up to Oskavik's novel TMO, a novel based on her life where the protagonist was caring for her terminally ill husband. Set after his death, this novel explores her falling in love again, only to fall in love with a man full of rage that our protagonist has seen before when she was a child. The first novel was exploring love in a very difficult situation, and the second novel is really the same, but terminal illness is replaced with fear, violence, and childhood trauma. Reservoir Bitches by Delilah de la Cresta, translated from Spanish by Julia Sanchez and Heather Cleary. Interconnected feminist short stories with a touch of horror from the point of view of 13 different women. I'm getting punk Mexican Bernardine Evaristo vibes, and if you don't think that's a good thing, you need more children riding pygmy hippos in your life. There's a daughter of a cartel boss, the victim of transfemicide, a socialite who has invented indigenous roots, and this is definitely giving me, ooh, shiny, I want it, I need it vibes. What I Know About You by Eric Shakur, translated from French by Pablo Strauss. Tarek is a doctor, then he meets Ali, a young man who is servicing wealthy men. Tarek isn't gay when he meets Ali, but things happen. I love how this novel captures Tarek's sexual naivety. He is an otherwise very intelligent man, but this naivety really does demonstrate his later in life realization of his sexuality and coming out, and it represents the impacts of a homophobic society on queer men, which is ultimately what this book really is about. 1980s Cairo and how the attitudes in that city impacted upon queer people and their relationships. This is a really good book. Hunchback by Sao Ichikawa, translated from Japanese by Polly Barton. This novel has won a lot of prizes in Japan. It is really well heralded, but it's not yet released here, and I can't wait. It's about a woman who lives in a wheelchair due to a congenital muscle disorder, and she writes erotic stories from her care home. One day, a new male nurse lets her know that he's read them, and she makes an indecent proposal to him. Far Away the Southern Sky by Joseph Andreas, translated from French by Simon Lesser. This is a historical fiction that follows Ho Chi Minh for the period of his life in which he lived in Paris, which is in the 1920s. Of course, he's a big figure in Vietnamese history, the first leader of North Vietnam, but I didn't know that he also founded the French Communist Party. Commies in the 1920s were really well thought of and definitely didn't need to live under different pseudonyms for their own protection, and definitely didn't get regularly beat up by the filth. Andreas' last book was about a similar situation, about an Algerian man getting interrogated by French police during the Algerian War. And Andreas really does love doing this, taking these historically very unpopular figures and shining a light on them and how they were mistreated and the struggles that they were fighting against. His last book was nothing short of excellent, so I expect this to be of similar quality. Samahani by Abdulaziz Baraka Sakin, translated from Arabic by Mayadad Ibrahim. Set in 19th century Zanzibar, this is a novel about the colonialization of Zanzibar, both at the hands of Europeans and at the hands of the Arabic world as well. It is about slavery, eunuchs, cruelty, barbarism, and the inhumanity that engulfed the island from the outside. And doesn't this sound cheerful? The Granddaughter by Bernard Schlick, translated from German by Charlotte Collins. After the modern-day death of his wife, Bridget, Caspar re-examines the 1964 love story that was the beginning of their relationship and investigates the sacrifices Bridget made to get him into West Berlin, leading to him finding a young woman who may be his granddaughter. Rock, Paper, Grenade by Artem Chek, translated from Ukrainian by Olena Jennings and Oksana Rosenblum. A young boy's grandmother has a new boyfriend, a man with PTSD, who will wake in the middle of the night screaming, "Who are you?" believing he is still in the Soviet-Afghan war. A novel exploring life in post-Soviet Ukraine, growing up without hope for a better future, and an unlikely friendship between a child and an old man. So many Ukrainian novels are out there at the moment. Publishers have really sought them out, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see them getting regularly nominated for this long list. To Greater Sky by Lilian Korobeka, translated from Romanian by Monica Cure. This is a novel about how Romanians were deported from Bukovina, a region in both Romania and the Ukraine, or during the forced deportation, Romania until the Soviet Union and Uncle Joe disagreed with that statement. Following Anna, an 11-year-old girl who has been sent to Kazakhstan on a 3-week train trip. In the present day, she is a great-great-grandmother, and she is about to be transferred into a nursing home. But she is telling her great-grandchild and her great-great-grandchild her story. Now, this event is key to the history of Moldova as well. The region has a very complicated and confusing history. But Lilian Korobaka is probably the best known Moldovan writer out there, and she does write about their history. Well, that's it. That's my 13 books. A few of you requested this video from me, so it just goes to show that sometimes you can ask for a video and it actually will happen. A quick word on the big name books I missed out. All the previous winners eligible will not be longlisted. I included only one book with a blue cover. Look, there's more than one cool publishing house out there, and I've really gone for a theme of displacement and adversity with a lot of these books. Not all, but a lot. Be that physical displacement or displacement from society in another way. But now that I've said that, the judges will probably go for optimism and rainbows or something very different. I'd love to thank my wonderful Patreons for all of their support, and accurate or not, I hope you found a few books in this video that sparked your interest. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.